Hey, how are you doing? It's Alan here from Looking for Warriors, and I want to talk about Think and Grow Rich. There's a really interesting part in Think and Grow Rich where he's talking about Henry Ford. Now, Henry Ford was a great man. Of course, we have Tesla now, and we have Toyota, and we have all the big car factories right now, but they're all built on Henry Ford's model. How to produce cars at a rate that we'll never be able to produce before. Before Henry Ford, they put each car together individually, each piece of each car, and he created the factory model. Where at one point, almost every car on the road was a Ford car, and he became a very, very wealthy man. Now, in the book, it talks about when Henry Ford, there was some pieces written about him in newspapers, in the Chicago newspaper. I think we all find now that anyone who reaches any prominence, especially now, there's going to be bad stuff written about them. And today it's going to be on the internet. In the past, it was in the papers. But today it's going to be on the internet. There's going to be some stuff written about you that's not nice. Anyone who reaches any kind of prominence, it's just the way it is. I heard it was a baseball player, and he was asked, how do you feel about everyone's shouting at you, complaining about you, and saying this, that, and the other about you? And his answer was amazing. I think he said, none of them, they don't shout at nobodies. They don't shout at nobody. So the fact that they're shouting about you means you've reached some kind of prominence. Don't shout at nobodies. So if you want nothing written about you on the internet, you want a clean reputation, be a nobody, and then you'll never get anything written about you. But if you reach any kind of prominence, which if you're watching this video, you probably will, any kind of prominence, or you do anything good in the world, you're going to get people writing bad things about you. They definitely know on the internet, because anybody can write anything on the internet. But at the time it was a newspaper. So Henry Ford, they wrote about him in the newspaper. They were saying he was an ignorant pacifist, that he was stupid, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. And he brought them to court. Now, my understanding of the American court system is because of the Second Amendment, it's very, very difficult to sue people in the court over libel. But when he was in the court, the lawyers that are against him wanted to prove that he was ignorant. So they asked him some questions. And this is really interesting. It's specialized and generalized knowledge. Specialized and generalized knowledge. And it's so relevant today. Even more relevant today than it was back then. So they asked him some questions about, and he had some good answers. He asked him some questions about some battles that were in America and the Civil War and stuff like that, and how many soldiers went to whatever battle. And he says, I don't know the exact amount of soldiers who went to that battle, but I do believe it was a lot less came back than went. And they asked him some dates and stuff like that, and he didn't know the exact answers. And he wanted to say that this proved that he was an ignorant man. Henry Ford, the man who built this empire. And what Henry Ford said was, listen, if I wanted to answer any of your questions, whatever stupid question you want, a general question you want to ask me, if I want to answer any of those questions, I have a row of electronic push buttons. It sounds silly today. I have a row of electronic push buttons on my desk that will get me the answer of any of those questions. Any of those generalized questions. And we have an electronic push button on our desk. It's called Hey Google. And it's called the other one that begins with S that I don't want to say because I'm talking to an iPhone right now. I'll stop recording if I say the name. So we have you could say, hey Google, hey S word. And we can ask any generalized question. We have access at our fingertips to any generalized question right now on the internet. Now, you need to be smart, because sometimes the answer you get on the internet, there's bias in it. Almost always there's bias in it. There's some sort of bias. There's right bias, there's left bias, there's whatever. People are going to put their own bias into. When you look at a newspaper, any newspaper article that's written, there's the bias of the advertiser in that article. The article won't get written if it upsets a major advertiser. There's the bias of the person writing that article in that article. There's the bias of the editor in that article. There's the bias of what they think the readers want to hear in that article. There's also the bias of the newspaper owner. If Jeff Bezos owns a newspaper, they're not going to write a lot. They don't even need to be told. If I was working as a writer in a newspaper, Jeff Bezos owned it, I wouldn't need to be told that we don't write something that's negative towards Jeff Bezos. Or I'm just using that as an example, any name. So, anything you read, particularly on the internet now, there's 100 biases goes into every single one of them. So you need to be intelligent and work it out, read the article, but also work out, there is, or just know there is biases in everything you read. And so he was saying he could press a button and any of these generalized knowledge questions he can get answers to. Now we can get answers right now as well to any generalized knowledge question we can ask the internet. We can ask Google and we'll know. And maybe check a few sources because we know there's going to be biases in it. But he said specialized knowledge. He had very, very specialized knowledge, which allowed him to create an absolute empire, which is even easier now than it was in his day. He had very specialized knowledge. And not only did he have specialized knowledge, he had applied specialized knowledge. So he took his specialized knowledge and applied it and worked day in, day out using that specialized knowledge. And that's what made him different. That's what made him different. Now, when your kids go to school today, they're going to be taught general knowledge. General knowledge. They're not going to be taught applied knowledge or specialized knowledge. They're going to be taught general knowledge. Quadratic equations, as I talked about before. They're not going to be told how to apply specialized knowledge. The only way they do that is if they do it themselves. If they do it themselves. If they learn, my own son's learning video editing. And he's putting ads online and he's doing video editing for people. Making what is good money for someone 17. A little bit of money makes a big difference. It doesn't have to be the same amount an adult would need. And he's got that specialized knowledge, video editing. It's not generalized, not taught in school. And he's applying that in a way that he can make money out of it. Applied, specialized knowledge. Really, really happy about that. So, you're going to have to learn some of this generalized knowledge in school because that's just the way it is. You want your results in exams. But what you should be really also looking for is specialized knowledge. Specialized knowledge. And where you get specialized knowledge today, there's a number of different places. There's obviously Udemy. There's obviously Skillshare. There's loads of places where you can get good specialized knowledge. Now you need to do lots of courses and take notes and apply them all together. But there's lots of places where you can get good specialized knowledge now. Even YouTube or even BitChute or whatever, there's lots of places where you can go in and get specialized knowledge right now. It's all available, but so many people just don't look at it. So it's available to you. And it's interesting, I watched this business guy from Nigeria, and he talks about Think and Grow Rich and other things. That's probably why I watch him. But it's very, very interesting about it, how he's in Nigeria in Africa, which would be considered a poor country. There's a lot of very poor people in Africa, but how he's been able to start up businesses there and make a lot of money, because there's also a lot of rich people in Africa as well, but how he's been able to make a lot of money in what would be classed as a poor country has been incredible. And the reason I mention that is because all of the knowledge of the West, all of the business knowledge, the internet knowledge, the web knowledge, the digital, all of that, it's all pretty much available online now, really, really, really cheap. So even for someone in a very, very poor country, they can gain all this knowledge. Now, you don't have to go to a Western country to gain all this knowledge and become very, very valuable in your own right. Apply the specialized knowledge. And even people in Western countries, I'm in Ireland, the people in Ireland, people in America, people in UK, Australia, wherever it happens to be, the ability today to gain specialized knowledge that right back then Ford was talking about. He was talking about that specialized knowledge. And what the school is going to want to do is fill your head up with lots of generalized knowledge that you're not going to remember, you're not going to apply. But if you can find that specialized knowledge and apply it, because lots of people who have done really well in exams have lots of generalized knowledge, have never applied it, and it hasn't benefited them. But if you can find that specialized knowledge, something that other people don't have, it doesn't even have to be that difficult to do. It can be that there's 2 or 3 different skills in your skill stack that nobody else has. So you may have a skill stack like Scott Adams talks about. He had the skill stack of, he was pretty good at drawing, he had a pretty good sense of humor, and he was good at marketing himself, and he made a lot of money creating Dilbert cartoons. Now, lots of people can draw, probably better than him. Lots of people have a sense of humor, probably better than him. And lots of people have marketing knowledge, probably better than him. But he put the 3 of them together in a specialized way and applied them in a way that made him a lot of money, made him very, very rich. And now he can spend his time doing podcasts and helping other people out. So it's about taking specialized knowledge, and it's usually you want a skill stack of specialized knowledge. You want a number of different things that makes you unique and stand out from everybody else. You want that skill stack that nobody else has. Have that specialized knowledge, and then apply it every day, even before you're getting paid. Even before you're getting paid, apply it. Apply it every day, even before you get paid. And sooner or later, you will be getting paid for it. So it's just very interesting. Think and Grow Rich. Henry Ford went to court and he talked about how useless generalized knowledge is that you're going to learn at school. All this general stuff that you're going to fill your head up with. How useless it is, and how useful and important specialized applied knowledge. So getting that specialized skill stack and applying it every day. I would go so far as to say, when you get your skill stack together, you go online and put the information about your skill stack online. Go onto YouTube, it's completely free. So another part of your skill stack will be teaching people, or public speaking or explaining your skill stack will be another part of your skill stack. And you put that on YouTube. And sooner or later you will connect with the people who really, really, really need you. And this is what Henry Ford talks about all those 80 years ago. It's probably more than that. The book was written 80 years ago. It's probably about 100 years ago. And it's what Henry Ford talked about when he was brought to court, how useless this generalized knowledge is. And he had to push electronic push buttons, as he said at the time, to get the details. He had experts that would tell him the details of any of these generalized questions. And we now have experts who will tell us online, who'll tell us the answers to any of these generalized questions if we want it. So we're learning dates and history and all that kind of stuff. We can find it out in 5 seconds. Now you need to have the intelligence to understand where the biases are and stuff like that. So everything's biased. That's why we love fake news, because it builds the muscle of us. There should be fake news. That's why the Q thing was amazing, because we need to build our own muscle of understanding that, yeah, sure, there is fake stuff out there, but we can get multiple sources and we can use our own applied specialized knowledge to work out what's right and what's wrong. Just been Alan here from Look for Warriors. Just want to talk about specialized applied knowledge coming straight from Think and Grow Rich 80 years ago, Henry Ford. Now I want you to do me a favor. I want you to hit the subscribe button. I want you to hit a like and put in a comment. I want to know what your skill stack is. Give me your skill stack. What's your specialized applied skill stack that you have?